well, today's the day. Taking the car to the paint shop finally. If you guys haven't seen some of the previous videos, basically the background story is I got hit on track at Buttonwillow. It's been a few years at this point actually, and the car's been through a bunch. Like, it's been through 2 separate frame shops to even get it to look at like this. Basically, this whole B pillar was pushed in maybe several inches. And even when they pulled it out, I didn't even know there was Bondo down here from the previous owner, but some of that chipped off. This is a door I got from a friend named Ben Ciantar, because ironically his younger brother was in the car. Max was in the car when we got hit, and this door just got caved in, and his brother happened to have a door, so we put that on. But yeah, I mean, I'll put a link in the description so you guys can see some of the previous work that was done, but it was a lot. But finally, I'm at the point where I'm ready to get a lot of this body work done. Just to prepare for it, I've taken off the trim, the bumpers. I've put my old drift wheels from when I was a kid on here. Just trying to, make it easier for the body shop guys, because all these little things you have to do to get the car ready to spray just takes time. So, took the stuff off, put it away in a safe point. And some of the things I want them to do actually are to delete the corner markers. I've got a big crease here. When I was a kid in college, I actually did a bunch of body work on this car, and I essentially got this car ready for paint a long time ago. And I had this panel all straightened out and smooth. And then shortly after I painted the car, I got sideswiped when I was at college. And it's been that way pretty much ever since. So it'll be nice to actually have some pros going and get this car to the point where it really deserves to be. I've also got some flares that I'm going to bring over to let them paint, and I think these are just going to be temporary flares. I've got some plans to do something a lot more aggressive, since this is a dedicated track car. I don't need to drive around to school anymore. So I can, kind of do things that are a little bit more, track focus and stuff. So pretty excited for that. But yeah, why don't we bring it on over to the paint shop.
No, he's sleeping.
Alright, so we're at Preferred Auto Body today. It's actually pretty wild. I think we dropped off the car on Tuesday, and then I just happened to be at the other shop just driving by, and I saw my car in the shop, because they told me it was going to take like a month for them to go through and do all the body work needed on this basically restoration job. So I dropped off on Tuesday with Mark's help, and then on Wednesday I was just driving by, and I happened to see my car was in there, and then I came by and they were already knocking it out. They were already doing a bunch of work. So then when I came by yesterday, they were saying that, hey, you should come back today because we're actually probably going to have it primered. So here we are, and what do you know, the car's actually made tremendous progress already. When I came by yesterday, they had just sanded down off the paint. Now they already have the guide coat and like the fill layer on here. And yeah, huge amount of work. It's pretty much just been Jose over here doing the whole thing. Jose, you want to say hi? Yeah, he's basically just done all this, including he's even bleeding the antenna. So he's welded up a little patch there. There were some like dents and holes here. We started to use some filler on there. And then this, I'm assuming, was a whole bunch more filler, but they've pulled out the sheet metal to be as straight as possible, and then used a flat sanding block to get it knocked down as much as they could. So there's like a guide layer on here. And then the really cool part is, Tuesday there was a USDM corner light hole there, and I asked them to fill it. You can see that they've welded up a plate there. And since I only asked them to paint the outside of the car, I'll probably need to figure out how I'm going to keep this from getting rust on it. But from the outside, it's already filled up. Short-term plan is to just get paint onto the car. It took a little while to figure out paint coat, but once we get it like sprayed, it'll be kind of cool to see what it looks like. It shows like a darker shade of red. And actually talking about the color, in the past we were kind of like asking people like, do you think the BG car should be like a green color or something else? And a lot of people are saying that green would be cool because it's kind of like the company colors. But after thinking about it, I'm just really used to this car being red, and I think people are kind of like, that have seen this car on like YouTube and stuff like that, are just familiar with how it looks. And frankly, I didn't want to. I don't have the bandwidth to go and like paint the engine bay and stuff like that. So I was like, well, you know, we'd have a green carb on the engine bay, it'd be red, and that's kind of tacky. And like to do it properly, it would take a lot more time. So just more as thinking about, I was like, you know, I think it'd be more realistic if we keep it red but make it like a nice darker color. And yeah, that's what we're looking for, and hopefully it'll come out good. But what I want to talk about is the rears. I've had these like basically just pulled out, you know, like fenders for like ages, and I used to have the Koki trim here. I never had anything on there, you know. This is just like some drift beater, but luckily it's turning into more of just like a track car, so I can get a little bit more like creative with what I want to do with the wheel offsets and the sizes and how aggressive the tires are going to go. So I am going to be running these guys. So these are like run freestyle flares. There's a lot of gap here. These are just like the beater drift tires and wheels from when I was a kid, but I'll be using a pretty aggressive wheel, and we're going to trim the fender flare to allow the wheel and tire package to come out and be more aggressive than before. And that's going to help with just overall grip and also rear end stability with the car at the limit. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then the fronts, I am electing to keep the flares that I also did as a kid, and not actually put anything on here because this is already coming out by a fair amount. But I kind of see this as a little bit more of like a short-term thing. I do have some pretty big plans on what to do as far as like a body kit long-term. So this is kind of just like, this will just be like phase one, where I've got like a moderate flare on the back, keeping the flares I did from before. And we'll just see how we like it. And then, you know, based on that, I'll probably start picking something a little bit more aggressive as time goes on, maybe even wider wheels and tires, and figure out what kind of aero package I want to do. So, but yeah, I think first step is just getting the car one color, and it's been way too long, and I cannot wait to see when this thing's, you know, what this is going to look like when it's done. I was originally told 1 month to finish it, but honestly, like I used to work in a body shop as a kid. This is a lot of the work already. So the next steps are they're going to need to continue sanding down to make things smooth, and then they're going to use some kind of etching primer or some kind of primer on there. And then they're going to take it over to a paint booth where they can heat it and start spraying the first coats with a whole lot of masking, of course. But this really, all this stuff that we're seeing here, this is the most time-consuming part. The actual spraying and masking, you have to be careful, but that's not where you spend all the time. The time is doing all this setup, and as you guys can see, it's already been roughed out a lot, and a lot of the panels are, you know, much straighter than they were before. So a lot of that hard work has been done already. So yeah, it's going along much faster. I'm glad that you know, I was kind of worried this car would be sitting here for like a month or longer. You've heard some, you know, horror stories of body shops because it takes so long, but Jose over there is just knocking it out. The guy's super fast. Yeah, and you know, once again, we're at Preferred Auto Body. I've been having a great experience so far, so definitely check them out. They're in Fremont, they're near our shop. So they're open to doing more pros. So if you guys are interested in getting some paint work done, it's Preferred Auto Body in Fremont.